concluded, quote, marijuana is a dangerous drug and that marijuana activity is a serious crime, end quote.
Many of the pot stocks, as you can imagine, which trade both here and in Canada, taking a hit off the potential policy change, but these names have been smoking.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Lance Storm, and this is WN420 because regular news is boring. Today we're going to be talking about the stock market. Since I'm not a pro, in fact, I don't even play the stock market, I'm very interested though, I figured it would be a good idea to track down some pros and see what they have to say about it. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell will let you know whenever we drop cool new videos. So let's just get down to the topics. First, I'm going to show you how the stock market took a plunge whenever Jeff Sessions made his announcement the other day. Then I'm going to show you how resilient the weed stock market is, or the pot stocks as they like to call it. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. Like I said earlier, I'm totally not even in the stock market, but I find it really interesting, and I think this video might help some of you along the way. So if you find it interesting, if you enjoy it, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, share it with some of your friends because you never know, maybe they need it for their stock market portfolio, or at least the information from this video. So without further ado, we're going to get to the video.
Jeff Sessions has been a voice against marijuana for so long. And I mean, you've got a man back in 2016 basically saying that, good people don't smoke marijuana when you have 30 million people today that are consuming it. So I look at it and say it's a tax revenue, sort of catalyst. There's no way that local, governments and attorney generals are not going to support it for that reason alone. You buy it here. MGX in particular, I love it.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really high growth but high risk industry. In 2017, these stocks were up 250%, and in light of the news today, these same stocks are down 10 to 40%. I think what's important for consumers and investors to realize is that in 2016, sales in Colorado topped $1.3 billion and grew 32% year over year. California has 9 times the population and estimates $5.1 billion in 2019, which seems really, really low. So, there's just a lot of tax revenue that the states would be missing out on, and it just seems very unlikely that Sessions wins here. Furthermore, some of the biggest players like Canopy are Canadian, so even if Sessions does win, there's still a potential $11 billion market in Canada. So it's a high risk, high reward play. For our clients particularly, probably a little too high risk. But if you are interested in having some high risk opportunities in your portfolio, this is probably a good buying opportunity.
If you got a strong stomach and you can white knuckle it. Thank you guys, Mark Tepper and David Seaberg.
So anytime somebody like Jeff Sessions makes a bold statement like he did the other day that they're going to crush the cannabis industry, of course the stocks are going to drop. But if we look at our pals to the north, they're thriving and they're doing really well. In fact, they're potentially looking at doing some work here within the United States. Now this next video is actually pretty fun. It's really funny. These guys, they have a good time on their show. So if you need or want to watch some stock market stuff on mainstream, these guys would probably be the ones to do it with. But then again, what do I know? I'm not a stock market professional, and these guys appear to be. So let's see what they have to say.
I believe in the industry, and I believe that Jeff Sessions has said this over and over again. Now, I mean, if you think about it, it boils down on the state level. The attorney generals in every one of these states, especially California, have been very outspoken in favor of, and their states are developing an enormous amount of revenue from these. I'm hearing some sound effects right now. Maybe it's just in my ear.
Like a toilet flushing?
I can't speak to it.
I think it's turkey gobbling.
What's fascinating about the move in the cannabis stocks is not only did it coincide with the legalization of recreational use in California, which is probably a $5 to $6 billion market, but it certainly has coincided with the move in crypto. And if you think about everything we just heard about and the criminalization and the federal element of this is really moving money around, and where a lot of U.S. cannabis plays actually have some risk, is related to that, and why the industry is literally being starved in the United States, and why the bigger plays are in Canada, where recreational isn't fully legalized, but medical is fully legalized, and the feds can't do anything about it.
So there's an important distinction when you're looking at some of these companies. Do you want to be invested in companies that are compliant with federal law, so maybe the ones in Canada versus here in the United States? Because until there is some clarity here, You're always going to have this cloud,
I
aren't
think
you?
the barn door is open. I think the cloud overhanging after
Meaning
today's
the
commentary.
industry has started and it's
no
off to
pun
the
intended on your
races.
cloud.
No barn, no cloud. The fact is, the barn door is open, and the animals are out of the barn. I mean, this is an industry that is in full force gear. We're just waiting for regulation to sort of open up a little bit here. So the facts are the facts. This is not a gateway drug. We see that. We know that.
That's what Jeff Sessions, by the way, has called
He's
marijuana.
called it. It's right. Look at opioid addictions. It's been proven. Look at Colorado when they legalized marijuana for adults. You saw a 6% decrease in opioid deaths. I mean, they're looking to combat that. So there's so many things that are tailwinds, if you will, for this sector. I look at it and say, buy the weakness aggressively.
Well, this is yeah.
What's the water noise?
Well, I don't know what sound we're trying to emulate here.
I
definitely would not know. I would not know.
Melissa thought it was a toilet.
It sounds like a toilet.
Yeah.
But I don't understand that relation. Anyway.
I think they're saying that's where your life will go if you do drugs.
Just say no. Okay, well, options traders are betting one hot pot stock is about to cool off. Mike Coe's out in Tampa, Florida, where things are looking a little bit trippy as the melodious sounds of Peter, Paul, and Mary fill the air.
Well,
hey, Mike.
dude.
Hi there. So, it's probably not the first name you would think of when you're thinking about pot stocks. SMG, Scott's Miracle Grow, actually is a business that has been focusing on this sector. The CEO of the company, Jim Hagedorn, had actually said that he hoped that they would earn 20% of their revenues by 2020 from hydroponics, which happens to serve that industry. Options traders didn't like the news that they saw today. 10 times the average volume, 40 times the average put volume, and where we saw most of the activity was the January 100 puts. Over 1,500 of those traded for about 30 cents. So that would be a bet that the stock would fall another 7% plus by January expiration. But I'm kind of with the guys on the desk on this one. This is a company that trades 23 times earnings, and eventually this business probably is going to take off. These guys are poised to benefit from that, and it's probably not a bad way to play the space.
Does he see what's going on behind the
I like it. It's a kaleidoscope.
This looks just like
a Chinese restaurant.
I have the same setup in my dorm room, actually.
So I told you them guys were pretty funny and educational. It looks like they're really getting into the pot game in more ways than one. Any investment you make in the stock market is a complete risk. Don't take any of my words or any of these guys' words. Do your homework for it. Whenever I think about the weed stock market, I think about the fact that everybody wants legalization. If we had legalization and treated it like it was a tomato, that anyone could grow it and it was completely legal across our nation, that would be an amazing thing. That's our goal. That's what we want. However, I do feel that some of the stock market weed prices would drop tremendously. The ones that I think would maintain their value are agricultural, industrial, and medical. Anything else, like recreational sales, that might be something that the bottom drops out on. And the reason why I think that is because if everybody's growing it, you don't need recreational, or you don't need as much recreational, which means that the overhead won't be there. So in my opinion, if you want to take a look at some pot stocks, definitely look at the medical and the industrial purposes, as well as agriculture. So on that note, we're out of here for the day. If you guys like what we do here and want to help support us on Patreon, that'd be really cool. If not, hit subscribe, and the notification button will let you know whenever we drop cool new videos. Don't forget to share us with your friends. I'm Lance Storm. This is WN420, because regular news is totally boring. Guys, stay beautiful, stay positive, and have a lovely day.